So part of my discussion I want to move forward with is the simulation hypothesis argument and my take on it and how I feel can't be held up against these anomalies because of the errors and glitches that people are experiencing. People actually refer to them in that manner, and you hear people saying different things such as we live in a matrix, these glitches and these errors. People think it's like computer code or what have you. The simulation argument was presented, it's a thesis paper, 2003 by a professor named Nick Bostrom out of Oxford, and the simulation argument is laid out and has three separate protocols. And the first one is that a civilization will not reach technological maturity and will cease to exist. And the second one is that a civilization does have the capability to create simulations to the effect that they create ancestor simulations and simulation upon simulation, but there comes a point to their maturity where they get bored or lack the pace of wanting to move forward and creating more simulations, ancestor simulations. So they would discontinue their effort and that civilization will cease to exist. And the third proposition of the simulation argument is, of course, the simulation hypothesis. And now that's the basic formula. Now the argument says you can start to deduct one of the three to have a possible outcome. Obviously, the first proposition that civilization will not reach technological maturity could not apply, that there is some level of technological maturity. The second one being that the civilization may get bored and want to cease any and all creation of some types of ancestor simulations, that those will cease to exist. But there's also a further argument to that Bostrom proposes, is that a civilization that has reached that level of technological maturity and are able to create simulations upon simulations and ancestor simulations, that they will further their venture in creating simulations to the point where they can be incorporated and part of this tech per se. It alludes to the notion of a technological convergence type of man and machine. So you can look at the second protocol in that way, and there's other arguments that can be placed in that. But I think that's a strong threshold to have when you look at the second protocol, is that we are moving into a stage of technological convergence with existential risk. Existential risk on a minor scale, depending how you want to look at technological maturity. If you look at what we're doing today in neural networking, AI research, consciousness, and moving forward in this type of, transhumanist, such a blanket term, this post-human life form, and you can create that argument and move forward in that. I feel personally that being placed with this argument and trying to figure out the different avenues and the way it's structured, you can, single out the second. I obviously would single out the third, and my point being is that if we are creating simulations, if we are creating ancestor simulations, if we are technologically advanced, and then I would say that my argument for the second protocol should be valid and reviewed. The idea of convergence, technological convergence with existential risk, and I should apply a section about these anomalies as being a level of low existential risk. Granted, they are calculated, but I should go on, when I bring up my topic of, or go in depth of superintelligence, I think that's something I should highlight in there. So being that we're at this technological convergence, and if you look at current research today in AI, and like I'm saying, all that stuff, I think you could find a great argument to move forward with. The idea that there are no glitches or what have you in a simulation, and I had this down. The simulation hypothesis presents no glitches in a simulation because a simulation ran by an extreme technologically advanced civilization is a superintelligent post-human life form and is incapable of errors, and there's a strong position to cover or edit glitches and errors prior to anyone detecting them, if any at all. The probability of any mistakes or glitches within a simulation is practically none. And this is part of the simulation hypothesis, is the third proposition in the argument. So if you look at that as being part of this argument, this simulation argument, and there are sections that go further in people that notice these glitches or these anomalies, and there is talk about what forms or what people are experiencing, and they are classified as human psychological disorders because they're prescribed up, jacked up on drugs, what have you. So a lot of these topics are pretty out there, I'd say, if you were to bring them up to someone in the general public. There could be some discussion. I think maybe at public forums, maybe more intellectual circles like AI research, lectures or what have you. I think that there could be hopefully a discussion of some sort. But I wanted to kind of go over that and basically my position on it, which is a technological convergence of man and machine. What we're witnessing now is the beginning stages of a technological singularity, and I think that's something that we should observe in that manner and focus on the big picture and our goal, and trying to figure out what we can and can do to combat this virus and help people, and maybe encourage people just to be aware and wake up, because I personally feel that if we are moving in this direction of technological convergence, that we don't have a lot of time. I feel that it's being presented to the public very strongly today, and it needs to be paid attention to, and it needs to be directed to in a particular matter so people can understand what's really occurring. It's a big topic, and I'm hoping to maybe review this and highlight points that I need to refresh and go over so I can make that point clear. The simulation hypothesis argument presented by Nick Bostrom, I feel, promotes the idea of a post-human life form. If you read the thesis paper, I think you'll get the gist of that. It's not that long. It's a little complex, but if you take the time to understand, I think you can get a large understanding by looking at that and my my observation of the second proposition of the simulation hypothesis argument, or simulation argument. The hypothesis is the third part of the argument. So I'm gonna take a look into that, I suppose. I also wanted to bring up so many things. I wanted to talk about the Jade 2 AI system that I believe was rolled out 2015. It's probably been active way before that, before it was presented to the public and you know, created on some type of VR. And I need to go over that. I also want to go over the concept of nodes within the AI system, the Jade 2 AI system, and I wanted to go over the sentient world simulation. I feel is anyway, I guess my main crux of the matter, and coming now to the final of today, is that we are free humans. We are not some programmable life form, and we need to take back our humanity, and we need to get people together on this boat, because we all can't do it alone. It's a big battle, but once we come to a greater understanding of what's really going on with the changes in our reality, and we grasp that knowledge and learn from it, I believe we'll be in a stronger position to conquer it. So that's my take. And again, I want to, if you're watching this video, I would recommend watching the first video where I speak about the mind crime virus, and I think that's probably the most important thing that the public really needs to take a look at. And again, I'm going to go over that topic, mind crime, Operation Mind Crime. You can actually get documentation and proof of this and how it's being laid out. It's out there, and it needs to be presented in a particular format for people. It's sunny out here in the city. It's nice to be out here.